show tonight. Got one of my good friends here I'm super excited to sit down with. You guys welcome Colin Johnson onto the show. What's up, man?
What's up? How's it going?
Oh, it's good, man. You might want to pull that in on you a little more since you're kind of sitting back now, so everybody can hear you. You're a little soft-spoken sometimes. Make sure we can hear him. You got him good, Biz?
You saying move from hold both when I move it?
Yeah. We'll get you all set up and squared away. We're rocking and rolling, but yeah. Colin realizes now that when I go to my consultations and he sets 6 o'clock as an option, why I always X-nay that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a trek.
Too much traffic, dude.
Yeah, traffic is terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, and it leads to nothing. It'll just automatically just opens up and it's all good to go.
Yeah. Everybody's just rubbernecking or just sitting there, and they all know where they're going, but then they got to get over at the last minute. They don't want to let you over. Good times.
I kind of might have caused some traffic today now that you say that, because I'm not out here much. And there's a few times where I had to jump over a couple lanes last minute.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm watching the time with the traffic. The time get closer and closer to 5:45, and I'm like, getting riskier and riskier.
All good, man. Well, we're happy you made it out, man. I'm looking forward to sitting down with you tonight.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
So, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your background, where you're from, etc., and just kind of like let people know who you are, man.
So I'm from Dallas area. I grew up in Duncanville, Texas, which is pretty much the first city south of Dallas. Halfway through 8th grade, transferred to Midlothian, went there for high school, graduated, went to a community college called Navarro for about a semester, then went to Christ for the Nations Institute in Dallas. And then as soon as I finished college, I started my tattoo apprenticeship. And then, let's see, trying to skip the boring stuff. Yeah, kind of just moved around after that. Once I finished the tattoo apprenticeship, I kind of traveled around to different shops or different places to, actually, because of some of the friends from my school, the college I went to, the people went from there, from CFNI, or from all over, so gave me a good reason and some friends to meet up with in different states, and I always wanted to travel too, so it was cool.
That's cool, man. So art always a part of your life, or how did we make the transition to deciding to go tattoo artist?
Yeah,
I know you do a lot of different art projects, like we'll kind of get into that, but
yeah, I was always an artist. It just always interested me. It was my favorite subject in school. When I was younger, wasn't so much interested in even other artists really, or art history.
Yeah.
Just creating art really. In high school, through my church, we did this. It's called Fine Arts. It's like kind of a competition for all different types of skills.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I would sell. I got to travel through that actually, through the thing with the church. If you pass a certain level, you get to go, and so other people, like some of my main friends in that youth group were in a band, and so they're practicing when they're on this trip. They have to focus, and I just had artwork, so I got to, not a free trip, but I got to hang out and just do whatever the whole time. And then one of those days, that whole week, you go by and see how the judging went, but yeah, it was fun. And then also in high school and kind of college time, I sold artwork on Craigslist.
What kind of art did you start out doing? Because like you do, I mean, I know because I've seen a lot of your work, and I mean, you've tattooed a lot of my friends. That's how you and I met. But what did you start out with? Like, what was your main thing? I mean, like, because I know when I was a kid and I was really into art, I was trying to like redraw comic books and, redo all that kind of stuff and just go from there.
So let's see. Thinking back, I can't remember the first like style or thing I got into, but when I started getting more serious around like 9th and 10th grade, I got more serious because I found out you could take some college classes while you're still in high school.
Yeah.
But we had to qualify or something, so I had to do some things to make sure I could be in those classes my junior year. And then that was also the same time we were doing that competition thing with that church, so I got into color realism with color pencils, Prismacolor pencils, and then kind of this weird abstract style. I would kind of take a pencil and just like sporadically move my hand and then trace over that with a hard line and create shapes. It's hard to explain. It was kind of weird. I was playing with like line weight and drop shadows and markers. Kind I like to do different things, different styles. And tattooing, I've specialized in different things over the years, but you get bored or you want to try something new. And so at this point, I like to do a few different things. Pretty versatile, I think.
What are your favorite things that you like to do right now? I mean, 'cause like I feel like early on, most of what I saw was like what Chase has. Like you like to do the geometrical, very. God, I wish I could remember the name of that artist that has all that. Like it's like the 3D where you use a point and you trace stuff back to the point almost. Like, is it MC Escher that does that?
Yeah, there's a few. So that style is called trash polka.
Okay.
That Chase has technically. It's like a mixture. Well, some of it's just geometric stuff, but Chase comes in and is like, "What are we doing today?" You know? So we got a bunch of cool stuff on him.
That sounds so odd to me knowing Chase, because Chase is so methodical and like planned that like I can't see him just like coming in and being like, "Yo, what do you feel like doing today, Colin?" Like, I mean, I can now because I know you, but like just Chase himself, like I find that so hard to like envision that.
Really?
Yeah, because he's so like regimented.
I kind of see that too. Yeah, he has to be. That dude does so many different things.
With his businesses and everything else. Like he's so regimented in everything.
Yeah. Dude, I look up to him a lot.
Yeah.
I've called him from here and there for random things. I'm pretty sure he answers the phone. He's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
I called him one time about financial stuff, what he would recommend, you know.
He's a great dude.
But I've never heard him say any bad things, not even like a bad, negative, funny joke about his kids or his wife. Like he'll never do that. Knows him, loves him, and respects him. Yeah. And he's just always in a good mood, you know. And with dealing with everything he deals with, as far as all the work he does and running his own business, and him and his wife and his family, it's just surprising that he's not annoyed all the time with other people. He's like, "Don't buy, I gotta focus," you know.
You can't be in construction and get annoyed that easily with stuff like that, because construction, there's always a problem.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're always trying to figure out how to problem solve something, and it comes down to communication 9 times out of 10, because you got to work around it, or you got to find a solution. So, yeah, I get that.
Cool dude, though.
Well, how'd you, so you also do like a lot of like skateboards, and like you do deck designs, I've seen you do. Yeah. And then shoes too. Like, how'd you get into all that?
So I was painting shoes right after high school a little bit, but at the time there was nothing really advertised, nothing that I knew of that existed to paint a shoe in the way that it would look like it came from the factory. Yeah. And where the paint would stay. So I only really went so far with it and just kind of played around. And then a buddy of mine, David Nash, shout out to my buddy David that I worked with in Deep Ellum for years, probably 4 or 5 years. Yeah. He kind of opened me up to he got really into it. Opened up the whole world. And once I saw him do one pair and saw the quality of not just his skill level, but the quality of the products that existed, I love shoes also. So I've always loved shoes and like jackets and hoodies and stuff. So got into it. He pretty much, as he was learning all these things, he was teaching me. It's just so much fun, but man, it takes a long time to do it in a way that you could like kick a brick wall and it won't come off, you know?
Yeah, I have a buddy that started doing that for like his daughter's soccer team. Like he started playing with her cleats. Yeah. And now like the whole team wants him to like do custom cleats for him and stuff like that. Yeah. Like he's ate up with it.
Yeah, dude, it takes a long time, man. I've got it streamlined now, so when I finally get back into it, hopefully I can lower my prices on stuff. But really it was just for fun. But like one pair would take, there's not a pair I've done that took less than 100 hours.
100 hours?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
There's the Air Swiss ones, the cheese looking ones. Those took, I learned a lot doing those, so it took longer, but those took probably 250 to 300 hours to paint one pair of shoes.
That's crazy.
So, yeah. But I'd like to get them. I figured out a process where I can do maybe 3 to 5 pairs in the same time it takes to do one. I just need a ready space, or a space that's ready to go. Yeah. So hopefully once the studio opens, we'll do that. But the shoes and then the skateboards was just graphic design after tattooing for a while. Like the way you make designs or take designs that people bring. The goal is to make, you got to change a few things, because not all good artwork will make a good tattoo. You want it to age well and have good contrast to the skin. So a lot of things from tattooing I learned are the same principles in graphic design too. So I just kind of slowly wanted to play with other things, or if it was a slow season, have something else to do. And then kind of got into it that way. I don't do it too much anymore. It's pretty difficult to maintain, to deal with.
It's amazing how you put
clients.
that stuff together. I mean, like, I'm super excited. Like, you guys have heard me talk about this a little bit. So I'm currently going through laser to get the one that I hate on my back lightened up so it doesn't affect his artwork. But we've been working on this for what, a couple months now?
Yeah, just the design.
Just the design aspect of it.
It's a big tattoo.
Yeah, I mean, it's big and it's got a lot of detail in it, but like, just watching how you, I mean, it's super impressive to me just how I can come in and talk to you about an idea and the pieces, and then the way you're able to help me put those together in something that'll work in a tattoo based off all your knowledge and your artist expertise. And then watching you work your iPad like a madman, like pulling in artwork and stuff. And like, I mean, I'm like, it's just fascinating to watch that. And it comes together, and we're on like our second full round of that. Cause like we came up with one idea, and then after it set on me for a while, I was like, don't think that's like quite where I want it. And like, versus having you waste a bunch of hours, like then transforming that into the actual artwork, we kind of went back and redid that process again. And I get to see that tonight, so I'm super excited about that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll share that process once I actually go to start getting the ink and like throw some of that up there.
Yeah, dude. Have you? Oh yeah, we have some before photos
I
from
think
before
it'll
the
be
laser,
cool.
huh?
Yeah.
At least I do.
Yeah,
so.
you have a few of those.
Yeah, it'll be fun to document that.
Laser sucks. Just for the record, it's not as bad as anybody thinks. It's absolutely worth doing, in my opinion, but like, it's not fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's been so long since I've had a tattoo that I don't know if I don't remember the tattoo hurting that much. Like, I mean, it's
really?
hot. Like,
yeah, to me it just feels really, it's just an uncomfortable. So, because I felt, at least for me, I felt it like inside of me. Like it felt like it was someone poking me with a needle, like barely, but an inch in me, like getting to that point. I didn't feel it on the surface. Yeah. So the first few little pop, 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 you're like, oh, okay, this is fine. And then you start being like, oh,
they like tease you though. Like they're like, oh, we're going to try a couple things. And it's just quick little snaps.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this isn't going to be that bad. But then when they just start going, then you're like, whoa, like, do you let them just go? I'm curious. Do you let them go like all the way? Like, I don't know which one you've had removed or where you've had working. So mine's all the way across my shoulder blades. They did like half, and she's like, you need a break? And I'm like, yeah, I think I'll take a break. They put more ice on you. Yeah. But man, when they start for that second half, that's the one that really gets you. Like trying to grunt through that. Like, I'm almost tempted this next round to just go. Like, don't stop. Like, just do the whole thing and then let's go. Because as soon as it's over with, it didn't bother me at all. Like, I was worried because I did that one right before Halloween. And I had to put on costume and stuff like that. And, like, it didn't bother me at all. It wasn't an irritant issue or anything like that. So it's not bad. It's amazing how much it takes off to like even like first go round. I know
last time I saw you, I specifically was like, don't let me forget. I want to see how good it's looking. Forgot. Well, then I forgot too, of course. But yeah, back to what you were saying. It's nice, right? Like you have a big tattoo, so you it demands it. But the consultations are, I've found that people really like them, especially for bigger tattoos. Yeah. But for smaller things too, I like to just, a lot of tattooers for a while have been taking photos and then we'll design on top of the photo. But then you spend a little while when they come in, you got to warp it or kind of tweak it to actually fit the shape. Yeah. But doing the tracings and the body mapping and then knowing that we have one consultation, then we book another one, usually it'd be like the next one's a tattoo. So then you come in, and if it's a big tattoo, you're already stressing about the design, and then it gets real awkward if you want to change things that take a while, and then you're just sitting there forever, and then it's like, now we might not even get started, or there might honestly, some people, I feel like, hopefully not with me, but I've done this personally, is like, it was tense in the moment, I didn't want to make any more changes, and I regret it.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the tattoo, but there's one I wish he would have moved. I would have had him move a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
well, why don't you plug your studio real quick? Tell everybody where you're at, what the name of the studio is and all that, just so people can find you. Like, we'll do this a couple times just because I know people are going to pop in and out of here, but I want to make sure people know where to find you.
Cool. So, yeah, you can mainly get a hold of me through my Instagram. It's Colin Johnson Artist. And then the studio, it's not open yet. I'm in a private studio right now and over by the Bishop Arts, if you're familiar with that area in Dallas. So the studio will be called Cloak Collective, and it's going to be kind of a co-working, not just a tattoo studio, but a co-working space for creative people. So we'll have different types of leasing options available for anywhere from a hobbyist to like a professional creative of any kind.
That'll be really cool, man.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see who all you bring into that. Because I see a lot of people you network with and do stuff with just from your social media accounts, and that should be really cool. Like, I'm interested in checking that out.
Got a few cool people on board so far.
Yeah, you got a few.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say, like, this has been the biggest pleasure of working with you, because I had a really bad experience right before I came to you, because I had actually forgotten, and then I saw Chase get some more work done, and I was like, man, why didn't I call Colin? And I was like, shit, because we had talked years ago. I mean, at least 2 years ago. I mean, it might have even been before COVID. And because I had some of these ideas and I was still trying to figure out how I wanted to put them together and stuff, but I'm not going to name any names, put anybody on the bus, but a guy came really highly recommended for black and gray. And a lot of people, man, I went in, paid a deposit, because like this dude stopped tattooing a guy when I had an appointment with him, and I was right on time, a little early, but like stops tattooing a guy, leaves this guy over there on the table, comes and consults with me for like 30, 45 minutes, throws some stuff together, kind of similar process to what you do, but like in just like the photoshopping and like putting the ideas kind of together initially and doing it. And it's like, went back for this guy, and it's like, I even offered to pay more money if that's what it took to like get it to a further along his view of how it was going to look. And the guy, he basically just like refunded my money and was like, I don't want to do this tattoo anymore. And then took my idea and posted it on his Instagram reel and like, this design is up for grabs. And I'm like, what a dick. Like,
yeah, that sucks.
You know, like, just not cool. But like, you know, I had already made some decisions based off how that was laying out. Like, I don't think I want to go down this road. So it was a good learning experience for me, but I highly recommend, especially somebody that's like got an idea and you really want to work through it with somebody and you're not really sure how it's all going to go together, find somebody like Colin to like really sit down with, because, you know, you've been super easy to work with. I mean, I've consulted with you and spent, I mean, I don't think either of the sessions where we sat down to work on the idea were any less than like 2 or 3 hours a piece. Mm-hmm. And we haven't even begun tattooing yet.
Right.
We don't even have, like, I mean, you have it now, but I mean, like, and we're going to sit down and go over that later tonight, but like, we haven't even gotten past that yet. And like, you've just been so comforting and like putting it together and like, hey man, if you're hesitant about this, like, let's take some time, really think about it, look at this. And then like the coaching too of like, hey, remember, I'm just using clip art here to get stuff positioned right, and then the artistry comes in.
Yeah,
too,
it gets drawn. Yeah.
Where you're actually spending the time drawing it up of what's actually going to go on me. So I think that's crucial. I mean, if somebody refuses to do that with you, like, my advice would be go find another tattoo artist. I mean, especially if you're doing something big, because laser's not fun if it ends up sucking or you decide you don't like it years later. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you don't want to go through all that. So if you're going to put something on your body like that, I just think like you really need to do that. Like, what are some other big things for you? Like, I know you just put out a really cool clip of like, I think it was like 3 things not to do when you're coming to get a tattoo. Yeah. Like, and it amazes me that people do this because, but then again, I did that. Like, the one on my back that I hate is from a shirt design that I carried around for like 3 or 4 years.
That's awesome.
A guy had done a badass rendering of my buddy's daughter on his arm. I saw it. We're hanging out with the guy, drinking tequila and shit, and like the dude's like, well, let's do it. Like, why are you still waiting? And I'm like, cool, let's do it. And that tattoo was literally done on a lounge chair in my mom's backyard at night under a patio light, and the dude only had his tracing needle with him, which is probably why the majority of it's really jacked up, because it's like even the shading was done with the tracing needle,
like a liner.
Yeah, like a liner.
Yeah.
So like, you know, yeah, that's why mine has all these gaps and empty voids, and it's just like, it's crap. But like, I was also wasted on tequila.
Yeah.
And bled like crazy. And like, the worst part of that was like, you know, you hit certain nerves and stuff in those areas, especially doing a whole tattoo like that with not all the right equipment.
Yeah.
Like, my fingers were going numb, toes were going numb here and there, and I was like, it was like literally the most miserable experience. That's why it's taken me so long to agree and figure out what I wanted to do with my back. And then I was like, all right, now it's get this removed partially and go on down the road. But like, what are some things you would advise people on, like do's, don'ts?
Well, don't get tattooed like that.
Like that, yeah. Definitely don't do that.
Someone's house, outside especially. No, I would kind of educate yourself a little bit. So depending on where you are or wherever you are, Google tattoo shops around you. Then sometimes the site will have all the artists in their portfolios on the website, or they'll link you to their personal pages. But just find artists. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. First, maybe just Google different styles of tattooing, and then you'll see kind of a style that you like. Because you probably, if you're thinking about getting a tattoo, you already have something in mind. So an artist is going to ask you what style. So I would maybe look into this different styles. There's not a ton, so it's not too overwhelming. And then look into the different artists in your area. Find someone who's... Sorry, that's my phone. I should turn that off.
No, you're good.
I thought I turned it off. I turned it on. But find someone whose work you like. That's kind of that's in a style that you like. And then usually you want to try and see... Most people will post healed photos too. You want to see what their work looks like healed. And then reach out to them and just clearly communicate, because you wouldn't just expect from a tattooer what me and Garrett have been going through, typically. So if it's a big design and you're wanting to see it first and all that, and you kind of want to check in, then I just communicate that to the tattooer first, because most tattooers are going to maybe do a consultation with you, or they'll feel like they got enough from you through the messages, and then they'll have you come on the day of the actual tattoo. So if that idea stresses you out, maybe ask them first if you can, or ask them how they do it first. And if they don't do it the way that you're most comfortable with, just ask them if they're cool with you coming in for a consultation, and then potentially another consultation to see the design. But expect to pay for their time for both of those. So usually you're going to pay, a consultation's free, and then you pay for a deposit for the tattoo appointment. But if you're doing more than one consultation, you might end up paying,
which is more than fair, because you're getting hours of their time.
And
to
really
work on it.
Tattooers are underpaid until the tattoo starts. So if like I think we did like a $150 deposit. So if it's $150, that does come out of the price of the tattoo. So it really just covers you if someone no call no shows. You at least got some of your time covered for designing something. But those are the main things I would tell somebody. Look into educate yourself a little bit on the style you're wanting. Research the artist around you. You might have to travel. It is worth it if you can't find anybody, or if you find someone but they're acting kind of weird or putting off a weird vibe or something. You might have to travel, but it's worth it. I mean, it's going to be on you forever. How much are you going to spend on a nice pair of shoes or a purse or a car? All of that can be stolen. So
I would never do the one where you just
stolen,
walk
lost,
in.
Borrowed, or anything. It's forever, and it's there for people to see.
Yeah, the walk in, like, unless it's something small, I couldn't fathom doing that again. I mean, like, I did my tribal band on my arm like that, like.
Yeah.
But I knew what I wanted, and I feel like something like that's easy.
Yeah.
But I feel like, especially if you're doing something bigger, or you want to plan out your sleeve, or something like that, then like you definitely want to put some time into that, because you've probably spent X amount of time processing that in your own mind and figuring out what you want.
Yeah.
Give the artist the same ability to do that as well, because you guys have all experienced that. I love the other one you said on there too, Let's touch on this because I know it was one of the things I asked you, which I think is really funny that Chase didn't even know about this until like his last tattoo, which is one of like umpteen you've done on him now.
Yeah.
But what about the painless tattoo creams and stuff like that? Maybe touch on that for everybody. Yeah, the numbing stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Chase didn't know. I forgot. It's funny. I didn't realize he didn't know until we used it. I've been tattooing you 10 years. I can't believe I haven't been using it that long.
He's gonna be hardcore like my brother though. Like my little brother. He's like, no, man, you can't do any of that. Like, that's part of the process. You got to go through the pain of, like, doing it and this and that. Like, but he has that real, like, it's, like, therapy for him getting tattoos.
Yeah, a lot of people have that. There's always those people in any group that are like, do it this way.
Yeah.
It's the right way. The wrong way is to get what I said in that video. Don't just... Unfortunately, all these companies are advertising straight to the clients now through Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. So people have discovered that numbing creams exist. We've known for a while. Some artists use them, some don't. There are two different types. There's the kind you put on before that usually goes on for up to an hour or longer to soak in. And then there's the kind that's weaker, but you put it on once the skin's been broken. So once you've done the line work or some shading, and it soaks into where you've tattooed. And it's effective about a quarter to a half inch out from that broken skin. That's the kind I use. I don't think there are some that people, both are okay to use, right? The ones that are on, I've known multiple people who've told me they've tried those exact brands that have been popping up on Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's not just those, no hate to those. There's a bunch of new ones, but, and they had no issues, but I personally used a numbing cream before, and while I was tattooing, the dude's skin started to fall off.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was a pre-numbing, and there's a whole story that goes in behind that, so obviously we stopped tattooing. But maybe that made me a little biased against them, but I do use them. But the ones that you put on after you've already started tattooing, they're a lot weaker, but they're just as effective, if not more, because they go into broken skin.
Yeah.
The big thing about... The main thing, I'm getting off a little bit, but the reason you don't want to put one on before is because as tattooers, we all have our different preferences and products that we use, and really you want the less room for error, the better. And if you've used some product I've never heard of or don't know anything about, and all you have to tell me is that you saw it on Instagram and it has 4-star reviews, like that doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're going in to have we're not doctors, but we do break the skin and deal with some of the same issues, or can. So you never go to the doctor and be like, don't worry, doc, I went ahead and I know you wanted me to drink that shake and not eat food last night, but I had this one meal that they said it's okay to have.
Yeah.
And be like, go home.
Yeah.
We'll reschedule, Like,
yeah.
And most tattooers will, if you come in with numbing or try and hide it, like you put it on and tried to wash it off right before you came in, it doesn't really work. We can tell. Then they'll send you home. So, and I usually will too. So I just ask your artist if you're worried about the pain. To make a short story long, ask your artist if you're worried about the pain, if there are any options, if they do numbing cream, and they'll tell you from there. You'll notice a lot of my answers are going to be just communicate with the artist, before.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really the best way to do it, because we've had all these conversations, so I feel like that's important. Not everybody has those with their artists,
and you shouldn't feel bad about it.
Or they wait till it's too late.
A lot of people feel bad, or like they're being a bother, because you're like, oh, this guy's probably been asked this 1,000 times. Well, yeah, it's our job,
Yeah.
And not that I'm always in the best mood and haven't been a jerk to someone before, but it's a good way to test something out too. Because if you ask 3 questions, it took 3 questions to piss this person off. Like, I don't want to work. You don't want to work with them anyway.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to feel like you can't make any changes, or you won't feel fully comfortable in the really important part, which is the design. So, it's kind of a little tester to see how you work with the person too.
Yeah.
Ask a few questions and stuff.
Absolutely. So what's some of the crazier experiences you've had,
With
aside
tattooing?
from skin falling off? I mean that probably takes the cake of someone coming in with numbing cream and their skin just rolling off.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
It was the numbing cream.
Yeah.
I was a beginner tattooer, and the place I was working, the owner had a numbing cream that he recommended for all of us to use in the shop, and it was that one. I think we found out later that it was his friend was a pharmacist who was trying to get a company going for making numbing creams, And so that was like some of his first batches. And they were too strong, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look into lidocaine, the main ingredient, like anything that numbs you, it's really, really dangerous. Even like in products like that, like any product can only have legally like 4%.
Yeah.
Maybe 5. But it's like with lidocaine, not with tattooing really, but maybe. Like from what my brother-in-law is an anesthesiologist, and we've talked about it and had conversations and stuff, and it's like you give someone lidocaine, it's okay, and then they're dead. Like there's no like, there's a tipping point now. You know what I mean? Like your organs will start to shut down. Like I almost want to say it numbs your body. That's probably not correct, but I'm trying to remember how he described it to me. But lidocaine is just a very dangerous and serious thing. So you definitely don't want to be soaking your skin in it. I mean, people will come in. The big thing is it changes the texture of it makes your skin kind of rubbery, some of them.
Yeah.
So even if it won't hurt the tattoo, you're going to probably pay, if you're paying by the hour, you might have just made your tattoo take 25, 50% longer, you know? So anyway.
That's crazy.
Numbing cream. Good and bad.
What's the worst tattoo you've been ever asked to do that you've done or refused to do?
I won't do them. Like pretty good at nicely convincing people that your idea sucks. You know what I mean? No, but I've done. Okay, what have I done? Usually, when people ask me that, my answer it's not necessarily a bad tattoo. Two things, real quick. The first one, I had a guy ask me if I would do this tattoo for cheaper if I would do it the way in the photo, because in the photo it was like Kurt Cobain's someone's tattoo. It was a horrible tattoo.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, just so you know, the price is because it's going to look like a good tattoo. It's same design. We'll do that design, but obviously that one wasn't done well. It sucks, but it'll look right. He's like, well, will it be cheaper? Can we do it for lower than the minimum if we make it look bad? He wanted me to intentionally make it look like shit. Yeah. But the other story is, so I had a buddy who he turned 18. He wanted to get his first tattoo and didn't want his mom to know about the tattoos. And he's redheaded, lots of freckles. Yeah. And I want to say his name, but I don't want to get him in trouble. It's been 10 years, but maybe his mom still doesn't know. But you know who you are. So he didn't want his mom to know. So he just got one more freckle on his forearm. He got a little brown dot, little skin tone dot. And then coming out of his hairline on his forehead, it was like a jagged, like quarter-inch little jagged white line, because white kind of heals if it's like a little line, looks like a cat scratch.
Yeah, like a scar.
You know? Yeah, and it kind of fades away over time. So he got that and was like, "Yeah, she'll never know. She'll never know." I was so excited, dude. Well, he had like 3 friends with him. 3 friends with the setup took like 10 times longer than the tattoo, and him and his buddies were so excited. You know, it was cool.
Yeah.
We were all excited. He's the kind of guy who gets people hyped, so he got me hyped up too. It's like, heck yeah, this dot, you know. But
that's awesome.
I can't think of a bad tattoo. As far as messing one up, people always ask that. I've done that once. So the wrong date I put on some lady for her grandmother who passed away. I think it was a death, or maybe it was a birth. But she gave me the wrong date. So. Oh man. I guess it wasn't my fault, but you still feel really bad. Yeah. Tattoo turned out better though, because the way she wanted it, what it was, I think it was 2 hands holding a bird. She wanted no background, so the hands just looked very obviously just like floating. Yeah. When it's realism and you just nothing's around the main object, it needs a little background, you know. And so we ended up doing like some dark shading around it, and then which covered the words underneath it, and then redid the date like a little bit bigger and a little bit fancier. Yeah. And it looked better, so it kind of worked out. But
that's cool. I think that's one of the hard things, because when we started talking about because I mean, I'm doing my whole back. Yeah. And it's like, there's a main piece, but it's like filling in the voided spaces. And it's like, even I remember asking you, like, is this unusual that like, I'm like, I haven't had a tattoo in like 20 years and I'm doing my entire back, like, because I mean, I plan to start my sleeve and like other things like that. It's like, should I be doing that instead? And you're like, well, actually, it's actually the opposite of that. Like, most people put them where you can't see them all the time. Right. And like, I don't know, like that just seemed like completely ass backwards to me. Really? Maybe that's just me, but I know like that's the other thing that's been really hard to visualize too, like until you've started like really pulling everything together in was like filling the other spaces and things not. I think one of the things you said to me too was something along the lines of like, you don't want a tattoo that like you have to be right up on to be able to like figure out what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like you want to be able to tell without having to like get right up on somebody what it is. Like it doesn't need to be too small, or it needs to have enough detail to make that work.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy to visualize if you're not an artist.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I always tell people. It's like, you want it to be, there's nothing worse than someone being like, that's so cool. What is it?
Yeah.
Getting close and be like, what is it? You're like, oh, you were just being nice. You don't even know what it is. You don't even know if it's nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I try and do that with my designs. Tattooing in general, that's kind of the main filter, so to speak, when someone brings in a cool painting and they want it tattooed. The changes you make to it, you're simplifying it in a way that it'll age well, and which at the same time, you're doing that through contrast, really. So you're at the same time making it more striking from a distance. And I like to really take advantage of that. I like my tattoos or any of my artwork to be as clear as possible from as far away as possible.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Yeah, I know, like my bad experience which isn't the back one actually, was the arm. The guy told me to use like a certain lotion, and I think I got the right one, but I got like scented or something, like it had something in it.
Oh yeah.
My tattoo, like this one on my arm, literally raised up like 1/4 of an inch off my arm. I mean, it looked like I'd been branded. Like that was not fun. That was not comfortable waiting for that to heal and like figuring out what was causing that.
Yeah, the scented lotion, man, it's not good. Unscented lotion.
Yeah.
I usually recommend Aquaphor and a couple things, but unscented lotion's good. But yeah, people will get that, or a lot of people get the fancy, like the medicated. They think it would be better.
Yeah.
Reasonably. I mean, I would think that too, but it's like it's too strong.
Yeah.
I think what it is. And the scented stuff stings.
I'm amazed.
Something about what's in it.
Yeah, and like laser, they tell you just to put Vaseline on it.
Do they?
Yeah, like just Vaseline for the first like 72 hours or something like that.
Yeah. We're kind of overcomplicating. You really just want to take care of a tattoo like a sunburn.
Yeah.
Different styles need different care. So I tell different people, depending on what they're getting, they'll be confused sometimes, like, did you change? I'm like, no, it's just because this one we did more super solid saturated color versus you did really kind of soft black and gray before. So it's more, depending on the trauma of the skin, you kind of adapt how you heal. But unscented lotion for sure.
Do you prefer doing more color, more black and gray, or what do you prefer doing?
I don't know. I always tell myself my main thing is like color neo-traditional, but I've really been enjoying black and gray realism a lot lately. I've always enjoyed it, but the process has been a lot of fun lately. I've been doing it more because once you start doing something and that's what you post, you kind of end up doing that for a while. So, but yeah, man, I like the kind of funky color, cool color scheme. Neo-traditional stuff, old school American traditional. Love doing that. I like switching it up. It's good for my ADHD, I think.
Yeah,
helps.
I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of different stuff, and I think that's one of the reasons I really wanted to work with you too, just because you combine a lot of different techniques and different things together that I think ultimately gets you better artwork. Which I think is cool. Like,
I appreciate it.
Doesn't necessarily have to be like that you just went completely one style. Like, I think that gives you more artistic freedom too.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
Yeah.
You set out to learn something and you think that sucked. I didn't learn anything. But you store it in your mind, and then later on you're like, oh, that's actually really useful for this completely different thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you always learn something. But all right, okay. I was watching you do that. I'm gonna try it.
All right.
I can do it with this one?
Yep, you can do it with that one. Here, we'll do cigar lighting 101 since we're doing this now. Which reminds me, I need to talk about this anyways because I always forget and then people get on me later. So just like kind of you don't want the flame like directly hitting the end of the cigar. Just kind of keep it in a circular motion. Get it to where it's all like lighting up real good, and then you can kind of blow on it and then take a few puffs like that, and get a good solid amber like that, and you'll have the whole ring going.
Okay. Does that sound satisfying? I wonder if they can hear that.
You get it? Yeah.
Okay.
Should get.
This thing's cool.
I just refilled them. There you go. I was going to say, sometimes you just shake them a little bit. I just refilled them for show. So for those of you that always ask, what are we smoking? What are we drinking? Colin likes a lighter cigar because he's not a big cigar smoker, but he does enjoy them. So he's got the Principal LE White Label, which you guys have seen me give guests on here. It's a great first cigar. It's a great, I don't smoke cigars all the time. It's light. It's got great flavor. It's something that most people can like really enjoy and not be too overwhelming. So yeah, now just get some draw on it and keep the fire on it for a second. You're good. I mean, that's already lit up really good, so you're probably solid there. I'm smoking a Davidoff Churchill Genevieve. I was smoking the Alfonso #1, the limited.
This is
the
really
Limitada.
Nice. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's good, solid, just light, not too.
Light
It's very approachable, easy cigar. This Alfonso's gonna be like this. This is gonna be a little stronger, but one I thought you'd enjoy too. These, I mean, you guys know how I feel about Nelson Alfonso cigars.
I like the way it looks. Is that how it comes that short?
Yeah, this is a #1 on size wise, like what they call it. It's like it's just a little study. This thing will smoke for an hour though.
Really?
Yeah, like some of them like will smoke faster than others. But
what causes that? How dense? How tight?
How it's wrapped, the binder, everything on it.
Is it shorter because it's stronger?
No, not necessarily. Like they just offer for people like sometimes shorter can be. I only have 45 minutes to smoke a cigar, so I'm gonna grab this #1, and that's gonna be about a 45-minute cigar.
Okay.
You know, something like this, you know, the one you have, like you can smoke that for an hour, hour and a half, depending on how you smoke cigars.
Gotcha.
So, you know, and then there's some larger ones that could be 2-hour cigars.
Really?
You know, like it just depends. How much time do you have? You know, it's almost like meditation. Like, you know, you're going to dedicate time to sit down and enjoy the cigar. So, like, how long do you have? So, that's, you know, they have different ring gauges, and then, you know, you get into different things. Like, you wanted to try the V cut tonight. So we gave you a V cut on yours. I cut most of mine straight. Depending on the cigar, there's a few cigars that I do prefer a V cut on, but it just kind of depends. And then as far as what we're drinking, Colin's going with this very rare Pappy Dr. Pepper. That's Texas edition. Yes. That's his preferred drink choice there tonight. And then I've got over here, you guys see me bring this one out before. I was in the mood for some cigar blends. So this is Joseph Magnus. This is batch 53. Thank you, Blake, for the awesome trade. That's one of my favorite go-tos. And then I'm going to be honest about this other one. So Don, that you guys saw in the episode last week, suggested I try this again. This is the Peg Leg Porker. This is a 12-year. I didn't like this when I first opened it. It didn't work with me real well. I didn't really care for it. Once it opened up and breathed a little bit, I really like it now. I'm glad Don talked me into going back and trying it again, because I almost just said, man, take the bottle. If you like this crap, like, you can have it. Like, just go. But it's a really good bottle to go down. He has an 8-year. I haven't tried that yet, but they're excellent bottles to go down.
I like the label. I like the packaging.
It's cool. There's some story, like he's like the guy that did that, like I want to say is like military vet, lost his leg, hence the Peg Leg Porker name that he decided to go with.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, it's a good bottle, man. Like I said, I'll be honest, I didn't like it the first time I had it. It was really bold and just kind of in your face, and that's usually not what I prefer to that degree. But and I know my friend Don that was on, that's kind of what he likes. He likes that real bold, really kind of has some bite to it. So when he first said it, I was kind of like, I think that's probably why I didn't like it. But it's opened up nicely since it's been sitting on my shelf for a while.
Nice. It's a whiskey?
Yep.
I like whiskey. Peg Leg.
Yeah. That's a cigar blend where they finish it in lots of different barrels to really give it a blend to where it just goes well with lots of cigars. Those are my favorites. That's probably the only ones I kind of chase still, is like finding good cigar blend bourbons.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't really buy much anymore. Unless it's one of my good buddies' club picks, and then usually I'll jump in and support the local clubs.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How many podcasts have you had now? How many episodes?
How many episodes? This is what, 49?
How long you been doing them?
So this is, we're right about what, the 1.5 year mark, Biz? We started in September, was it September of last year? Yeah, September of last year we started. So we've done a full calendar year and it's December. So yeah, we do one a week on average.
So you in just 1.5 years, 49 you said?
49.
Dang.
49
so
episodes.
Once you started, you just decided you wanted to do it, and then just scheduled and went full into it right away?
Yeah, man. I mean, you got to build a following, and you got to like just go after it. So
whose podcast? What was it? Was it a podcast you were watching? Did you watch a bunch and you were like slowly convinced, or did you see one episode and you were?
Yeah, I know. I liked podcasts, and I watched like a lot of the ones that like everybody watches. Joe Rogan and stuff like that, and I'd listen to them while I was driving because I drive a lot for work.
Yeah, same.
So I'd listen to random podcasts. What are a couple others? I like Aubrey Marcus, Tim Ferriss for a while, depending on who's on and what they're talking about. I could get into some of those. Two Bears, One Cave. I love that one. My little brother turned me on to that one.
Yeah.
That's Bert Kreischer and man, this is gonna kill me. Tom Segura.
Yeah.
And man, those dudes are off the chain. If I need to be put in a good mood and just laugh about some like nonsense, that's what I'll throw on.
Yeah.
But so to fully answer that, I tried doing like a blog for a while, and I was too analytical in my writing. Like I could not put it out there consistently. Like I'd spend hours trying to write something, and then I'd go, that's not good enough. Like I can't post that.
Yeah.
So that was like very short-lived. And then the cigar lounge that I'm a member at, Industrial Cigars, which we're filming, as you can see, at my house again because the remodel is still fully underway. The space that you guys normally see me in under there is a ginormous storage room right now, and is packed floor to ceiling, wall to wall. So there was no way we could pull that off tonight. But those guys, when I started up there, I was trading bourbon knowledge for cigar knowledge because I was real novice with cigars. So like I was teaching the guys about bourbon. I started helping run some of the bourbon club stuff that they were doing up there, and kind of traded that for cigar knowledge. And the guys that own the shop up there, the Frakes, they have a couple different podcasts. They have one called Saturday at the Shop that they do every Saturday morning with Brandon and his dad, Dave. That's a shorter format one. And then they do Cigar Talk Live, which is now Bad Words. They do that one every Tuesday night, and they asked me to be on that one night, and man, I fell in love with the format. Like I was like, this is so cool. Like I can just sit, have cool conversation with people, and I was meeting all these people and have a pretty cool circle of friends and network that just have a drink, smoke a cigar, and like we were all talking about stuff that I was like, man, people could learn so much if they were like listening to these stories, or like got out of their own box a little bit and like went out and tried to learn something.
Yeah.
So I asked Brandon about it. Then they had me do it a second time, like within a month. Like somebody canceled or something. He's like, you want to hop on again tonight? I'm like, sure. So I hopped back on a second time, and I was like, all right, I got to do this. Like it was just like, I have to do this. So then I asked Brandon, I was like, how can I make this work? And he's like, talk to Biz. Biz and I started talking, and like instantly built up a friendship. I'd already known Biz a little bit from the lounge, and Biz is kind of like, yeah, man, if you want to do this, when you get your shit ready, you let me know, but I'm down. And I was like, oh, I'm ready, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, you give me 30, 45 days, I'm going to like put this together and like map this out. Like, I'll come holler at you. I was like, so keep your schedule clear for this. And he's like, yeah, man, come talk to me when you're ready. And literally like a month later, I was like, I'm ready. Like, let's go. Like, let's set all this up. And we just started doing it, man. It's been a learning process. Like, it was not easy. It's still not easy. It takes a lot of extra time. You know, AI is really helping for someone like me that this isn't my full-time job. I'm not like selling something necessarily. So like my business doesn't depend on it, like me selling on here. So, you know, I feel like people that are selling like a certain thing, like if you're a gun guy, you know, like you can do a podcast on guns and push business to your gun store or whatever it is, or you're a bourbon club and you're pushing bourbon. Like that's really easy to do. But when you're just trying to educate people and share stories and knowledge, you know, it's been a different path, I think. But AI is really helping because there's like, I just got a new program and it's helping me get the short edits because I do long form content. You know, we're going to sit here for an hour and a half to 2 hours and chat with everybody. People don't have that attention span anymore.
Yeah.
And they want that short TikTok video. They want that Instagram reel, this and that. Well, I didn't have the time or the budget to have somebody just edit 2 hours of content every week to create all that. Now there are AI programs that'll do that for you that are very reasonably priced, especially if you shop for them on Black Friday. Highly recommend that. And I just started a trial with one of the episodes we did a few weeks ago. One of the videos we put out, it's a minute-long little clip. It's already got 1,500 views. So, you know, nice. Finding little things like that help a bunch. I think that's going to really help grow the audience and, you know, get this into more people watching.
Yeah.
Because no one gives you the time of day really until you get like a certain amount of followers, sponsors, you know, stuff like that. But getting a sponsor, you better have 10,000 plus followers, and then people will talk to you about that.
Yeah.
No one's gonna go with 180 YouTube subscribers, you know, like it just doesn't push the weight yet.
And people say the more subscribers, followers, whatever you have, the quicker you get more. It's hardest to get to 100 or 1,000. Then it's easier to get to 10,000.
Yeah, once you cross that threshold and you hit the algorithms, getting it and figuring out what is doing that. And I truly believe that if you're a long form, long content, long form, you've got to take the time to do the short reel, the short stuff, because that's what people, because someone will watch a minute clip and go, damn, I loved what Colin said right there. Now they're like, well, I wonder what else he said. Then they'll go back and start listening to the episode. You know, you throw enough of those little reels out, and now they're interested in you. Yeah. You know, because they want to know more about what you said. Now they'll sit down and they'll download the 2-hour episode and listen to it 30 minutes here and there on their way to and from work, or while they're on the treadmill at the gym, whatever. Yeah. So you got to figure out ways to do that stuff. I think that's the hardest part. That's the biggest learning curve. Wouldn't you agree, Biz?
I do.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're cool, man. Like, I mean, what do you think of them so far? I mean, I know you've done a couple recently. Like,
well, being on it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Watching them's just as fun.
Yeah.
It just seems like it'd be a fun thing to do. It's like I'm jealous of most of the people I watch are probably comedians on their podcast, but especially for them, some of them make more money doing the podcast.
Yeah.
You're imagine like making more money doing that than all the things you just don't have to do is what I'm saying, I guess. Like they don't have to do all the traveling, be away from their families. You can just have someone on. Maybe you have to travel if you're a guest. You just hang out with your friends and do this and talk, and people just want to hear it. Like it's crazy. You're just talking about random. Some things are just, some podcasts are just the most random stuff.
Yeah,
especially
it could be whatever.
Rogan's, you know.
Yeah,
it's always just whatever. People love it.
And what amazes me how much knowledge he has. I mean, like, that dude knows a good amount about a lot of shit. I mean, like, look at all the different guests he has. I mean, like, and again, I think certain things on the web make that easier in today's world now, because say you were an astrophysicist and you were my buddy and I was like, you were coming on my show and you and I are going to sit down, like, how am I going to ask you questions about that? Like, I don't know shit about that.
Right.
Like, But I could tap into ChatGPT now and say, give me 10 of the most intriguing questions to ask an astrophysicist, and it's going to pop out some shit. And I could literally like just sit here and ask you those questions. Like that's
AI is crazy, dude. I'm
nuts.
excited and terrified. All the things you hear Elon Musk say about it. Mm-hmm. Every time he talks about it, he's like, first off, he's like, yeah, we've thought about creating an engine. They created one too. I forget what it's called, but it's like I thought about it like 10 years ago, but I didn't want to do it because I've always had so much going on, and I knew it could be the fall of society and the dangers of it. And even now that it's finally here,
yeah,
he's still saying the same things, even though he has one for people to use. It's like there's no way to know where it's going to go and what it's going to do. I mean, people like to talk about the jobs people might lose, and as an artist, it's kind of scary, but I'm not too worried about that. But
I don't think artists are going to lose anything because you still got to do the human touch. Like, I mean, for instance, I'll tell this story on here. You know, a certain friend of mine that I know is super into crypto right now. He buys all these crypto, and a lot of those are backed by AI projects and stuff like that, or involve AI projects. There's ones that'll like, you can go in there and upload a picture of somebody, and it'll make them naked. This crypto's skyrocketing. Right, yeah.
Of course, wow.
And like, but the AI still can't do everything. Like, one person uploaded Barney, literally a picture of Barney, and the AI bot thought that was a girl in a hoodie, so it made a naked girl in a hoodie from like here to here, and then it was like the Barney base.
What?
Like, but you put in like you could upload a picture of Jennifer Aniston, and it'll totally manipulate it to where she's. And if you didn't know better, you wouldn't know that that's not real.
Yeah.
Like that's where I think AI gets scary, is because
with using your voice, your face,
your voice, your face, stuff like that. You're not going to know what's real and not. Like, I mean, like, it's going to ruin some people's lives and stuff. And I mean, especially the way the media is today, and the way they like to portray stories and stuff, or agendas. Man, I mean, all you got to do is plug into the right AI software or whatever, and I mean, you could have Joe Biden saying whatever, or Donald Trump saying whatever, or the Secretary of Defense saying, you know, whatever. And I mean, like, that gets dangerous. I mean, like, what if someone starts broadcasting and they take like one of these foreign leaders and starts making threats on other countries, and like, how are they at a certain point going to verify if that's real or not?
I know.
I mean, like, that's the scary stuff.
How much it's going to make their job difficult.
Yeah.
It's always been like, you show up in court with all evidence, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But if you show up with a video of the person, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Case closed.
Guilty.
But now it's like, you can not even be a video editor. You can just know how to spell and type, and you can have something in seconds make you a video of any person with their voice.
Yeah.
Look like they're doing anything or saying anything. Hopefully there will be technology that you can put those videos in and it'll tell you yes or no.
If it's ever been altered.
But I mean, I don't know.
I'd
like to think that if AI exists, then that can exist. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to make stuff like that a lot harder to prove. And like,
and unfortunately, like when you see people get in the cancel culture and all, and there's all the stuff going on now. Mm-hmm. Videos of clips that aren't the whole context get out there, and people base their opinion off you before the facts come out. Yeah. And so now if it's just going to be that much worse. You know. Yeah. You come out before you can even get the chance to say I was in Hawaii that day. That could not have been me in Florida on CNN. You know what I mean? Check with them too. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. It's just crazy to see where it's going to go. But I'm very excited about the advancements in technology because of AI. I saw a thing. I think it was Elon. I keep talking about it. I watched it in one of his interviews yesterday, which was pretty wild. I don't know if you've seen that, the recent interview, the hour-long one. But
who'd he do it with?
I can't remember, but it seemed like the guy did not like him.
Okay.
He said that they had been known each other for years, but this, I don't know. But, now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, he said that in his AI engine, it took 4 hours for the engine to learn every possible move any human has ever been taught or taught in chess. So It didn't say every move ever, but it said any move that's ever been taught or that humans know or teach, or like the strategies that are known.
Yeah.
And then it took 4 hours to learn every single one of those since the beginning of chess, since any records have been kept of chess in every book, and then immediately beat the best other chess robot in the world. Took 4 hours to learn all that, which is ridiculous. Which in a month, that'll probably be 5 seconds. Yeah. Think about, it's going to be cool to see how, think about 10 years ago, now iPhones have been out 10 years, so maybe 2 years before iPhone, it was still pretty simple. Like 3 megapixel flip phones were like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
If you got lucky, your phone could have iTunes. You're like, no way.
Or your iPod that was like 32 gigabytes eventually.
And then just the way they say technology, it advances, the rate at which it accelerates is every 2 years it doubles. So it's like double.
Yeah.
So AI is going to make that go nuts.
Yeah, it's going to go completely bonkers. I mean, just think about, like, I was talking about AI that I use on my show. Like, YouTube has an extension of AI that I can download, and it's like super cheap per month. As soon as this is over, I can go in there and hit summarize, and in about 10 seconds, it is going to summarize and timestamp the entire up to 2 hour episode you and I, and it's not up to, but I mean, I don't usually go over 2 hours, but 2 hours of content, it'll analyze in about 10 seconds. It'll give me key insights, summaries, topics, bullet points, all this stuff that then, like, I mean, it's no secret. I mean, most people see it probably on, like, my descriptions, and you can tell where that's, like, gotten better on my show descriptions when I upload them after the fact versus the live, that you can see, like, I will then take that before I upload to, like, Anchor, which goes out on, like, Spotify and everybody else. I will take those insights and that summary, throw it into Chat GPT-4 with some simple commands, write me a podcast show description that is intriguing and captivating, that starts with these 5 things or insights from this. Copy and paste that, and 10 seconds later, it looks like I could win a Nobel Peace Prize for writing show descriptions, and there it all is. Something that would take me hours to sit down and write out, let alone to go through and timestamp all that, so that if somebody wanted to go in there and go to a specific point where, I want to see that point where Colin talked about a dude's skin falling off from, cream. It's going to be timestamped on there, that they can easily go do that real quickly.
Yeah.
Like, or I would be paying an editor hundreds of dollars to sit there and go back through and do that manually. Now, I think people like that, their AI is going to disrupt their job field. Like, they're going to have to find other ways to add value.
Yeah.
Because AI still needs to be tweaked, like, and it still needs to be personalized. Like, it'll get you and I confused. Like, when I throw it in there, it'll say, Garrett said this, or Colin said that. And I'm like, well, I didn't say that. Colin said that. So obviously I got to go in there and rework it a little bit. But I mean, that's minutes versus hours of my time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's cool. I mean, it's
definitely not going anywhere.
Yeah. No, they're not turning back that page now. Like, they're not shutting that off. I mean, they've been building that since the internet came along. Like, that's why everything has been being uploaded to the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
And now that they've got processors that can literally have an AI go through and analyze that and understand that in seconds, that's insane.
Yeah.
And think, if that's what we have access to now as AI, what does the government have access to that way? I mean, because if we've got that as technology I can go on here and sign up for a monthly subscription for, what can they do?
Yeah.
Well, that's where it gets scary.
It's probably only released to us because it's old news to them now.
Oh yeah, they've already had that technology for X amount of years.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like half the stuff we see when people think it's aliens or they release this stuff, they like the whole videos that came out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Well, the guys in those videos don't say they're aliens. They say that it's essentially a UFO. It's and literally it's just unidentified. They don't know what it is, so it's a UFO.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's an alien. But I feel like they probably know a little more. There's technologies they have they can't speak on, and they know if they have that technology, then this other country probably has it too. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think the reason we all think it's probably aliens is because there's things they can't really say. Even if they don't, they don't know whose it is. They probably have at least a better idea than they're letting on about how it works and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
What other rabbit holes do you like to go down? Like you podcasting and all that. Like what other hot topics are you into these days?
Hot topic.
Or I know a good one that maybe worth mentioning too. Like back to tattooing a little bit maybe. I saw an interesting podcast you did. I actually met the couple when I was there for my last consultation that you did a podcast with. High
Viz and Missy Monoxide, her podcast.
Yeah, Missy Monoxide. And I remember you talking about like the fact that like tattoo artists don't have to have any licensing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of crazy too, because like Texas is one of those states. Me as a contractor, for what I do, I don't have to have like this big crazy license like you do in Florida or New York or California. And there's associations you can belong to, and whether you're a custom home builder, there's designations and stuff. But like Texas, you could just go start tattooing tomorrow. You could open up a studio tomorrow if you wanted to, and literally have no experience, right?
Yeah, you could.
Like, what are your thoughts on that?
You'd have to have experience. I mean, you'll have to answer some questions to get the tattoo shop. I mean, a few questions and for some things, but it's not something that you could read a few things in a few hours.
Yeah.
And you would know what to put. And
like, how hard is that transition from like you doing artwork on paper to learning how to use an ink gun and like tattooing someone? Like how did that go for you? Like, were you like super nervous the first time you tattooed somebody? Like, how'd your first tattoo go?
But you pick designs. I pick designs that have a lot of room for error. So things with one of the first tattoos I did was this one on my hand, not on me. It's the same design on a buddy of mine, but it's really fat lines. It's 2 lines and you fill in the middle. So I knew if I didn't do a good line, it's going to get filled in between anyway.
Okay.
So if you started, you'd be a lot more nervous if you started to do like your first tattoo. You try to do a portrait or something.
Yeah.
Or just people don't know how hard. Just simple one word, but it's completely perfect parallels, no curve, nothing fancy. That's the perfect straight lines are harder than like script. You know what I mean?
Like I figure like Chase's stuff has to be like super hard because it's so symmetrical.
Yeah.
And like the patterns and stuff like that.
Yeah, it just takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, to do it right. There's no room for error when things need to be symmetrical and perfect. What was your question?
Oh man, I like how do you feel about the licensing and not being licensed? Right. I guess we kind of veered off there a little bit.
It's not good, but I have learned since then from that video. We had a girl, I wish I could remember her name, but she tattoos in Texas. I can't remember the city. I wonder if she said Wichita Falls, but in a city where they've adopted that system I was referring to that they have in states like Tennessee. That Tennessee is the one I referred to in that video about you have to apprenticeship for 2 years at the same shop. If you leave on the last day, you got to start that apprenticeship over. And I think you got to renew your license. I don't know if renew is the right word, but
yeah,
every year. And every tattooer individually is licensed versus Texas. Just the shop has a license, and then anyone you hire, no one regulates who you hire, you pick. So I made the joke in that other video about like you can say, I had a friend from high school that could draw really good, but anybody, you're like, that guy was really cool. He's kind of a good friend. He's a pretty good art. He'd probably be a good tattooer. And because you don't know what you're doing, you don't know that that's wrong. Well, you probably know it's wrong, but you're certainly not going to tell the people who come in the door. Yeah. And that's where the problem lies, But yeah, you shouldn't be able to open a tattoo, any kind of business that has anything to do with being sterile, anything medical, without a decent amount of training and
that's just
a
wild.
Way where you should have to prove your credentials in some way, I would think. Hopefully they'll change it. What I was saying was, though, that we found out that I think she said her county is doing it like that, though. So that's good though. Hopefully that means Texas will keep moving that direction and make it a statewide thing. I think they should. Seems wild that it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll probably change too. I mean, like, tattoos are getting so much more acceptable now. I mean, like, you see people that you would never have expected in the past doing sleeves, stuff that can be exposed. Like,
well, think about how long, even like cosmetology school. I can't remember the hours, but I think it's, thinking back to my friends who have done it, I think theirs was like a 9-month, I'm sure they're different ones, but 9-month school.
Yeah.
And that's not that long, but at least it's something. Telling me there's nothing for tattooing.
That's wild, man.
You don't even have to be like, they don't even have to ask you, have you done this before? They just ask you.
And how often have you been asked, like, how many tattoos have you done?
Not, well, when I first started, quite often. But I don't get that question too many times now. Not how many have you done. It's usually, what's the craziest thing you've done? Has anyone ever passed out? Or
how many years have you been tattooing? I mean, like,
how long?
You would think that would be a really common question to ask.
Yeah, how long?
I mean, I never asked you. I mean, but again, I know you. I've seen your work. Yeah. So, but I mean, like, walk-ins, like, how many people that are like walking, like, if you were in Deep Ellum tattooing at one of the like key places that you could just walk in from a night at the bar and go get your tattoo, whatever you wanted, you know, walk-ins welcome. Like, how many people ask, like, that could be that dude's first tattoo and you don't even ask, like, you just like, I want a XYZ tattooed on me.
Dude, people almost never ask. I would ask, like, oh, so how'd you hear about me, or how'd you hear about the shop?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, we were just around and we walked in. And I was like, so essentially trying to find out how they saw my work, and people are like, oh no, I just, like, you didn't even look at my work? And I'll joke and be like, well, you better hope I don't suck.
Yeah.
Like, then they're like, how long you been doing this? You know?
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, they're not wrong. You should think that if you go into a tattoo shop that people know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like there's not like a bio there.
Should be expected to know what you're doing. Some artists will be better than others, of course, but I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's just, it seems unmanaged.
What's the most painful tattoo you've done?
That I've received or given?
Both.
My worst ones are probably the edges of my hands and then up behind my ear. And
neck wasn't that bad?
No, just way up high.
Yeah.
It's just funny. Most people say up here, like behind the ear tattoos aren't bad, but mine, it's a little bit further back than that, right into the hair area. That sucked. And then as far as ones I've done, everyone's different. I usually tell people, from my experience, the closer you get to any area that bends, so the forearm's not too bad, but if you get closer to the wrist or the crease of the arm, both sides.
I remember inside of the arm,
ankles,
like in here, wasn't real fun.
Yeah.
That wasn't.
That's probably the spot, that and the ribs, people are most afraid of.
Yeah.
Everyone always is like, oh, my brother told me this spot, really get ready to cry.
Yeah. I've heard about the feet too, like the tops of your feet.
Yeah,
people
feet
that
are
do
weird.
those.
They're usually like people hate it and they're dying through it, or it's not bad. They're just chilling. You'd think there'd be some in between. There is for everything else, really, but yeah, feet. I don't have my feet done. I wouldn't want it. I don't think I will do it, but I would think.
What would it take
really
for you
bad.
to get another tattoo? Like, what would your criteria be? Like, are you now at a point where, like, you have like a certain artist, like you would fly to Spain and like you want like XYZ to tattoo you? Do you have something like that?
There's 2 guys that I want to get tattooed by, and they're both in Spain. They're both in Spain. They don't work in the same shop.
I bet I've seen one of them's work on.
Yeah, I would.
There's a guy in Colorado too that I saw that, like, he does a lot of the like UFC guys and stuff.
Really?
He does really sick stuff. I've seen, like, I would say, like, if I was going to travel, those would be 2.
Yeah, dude. But it would just be and if you're going to Spain, I've never been, I'd have to make it.
Dude, Spain is like probably my favorite place that I've traveled.
Really?
Out of the whole world, all the places I've been so far, which is not a lot. If I could have the same standard of living I have here, and like job would transfer, everything like that, like, I would move to Spain in a heartbeat.
Really?
Like, yeah, and I've only seen Barcelona and Madrid. But, my wife debates this with me. My wife studied over there in college. She will debate this with me. even down to like which city has better sangria.
Really?
But I'm telling you, like, Barcelona was by far, I like Barcelona more than Madrid. Madrid was cool for like the art and stuff like that and the museums, but Sagrada de Familia, for me with a construction background, watching that still be built and like seeing them do different stones that are in columns that are hundreds of feet tall, and it's perfectly matched, and they're still matching this stuff exactly, and it looks like it was all done at the same time, and it's been going on for like over 140 years or something crazy like that, maybe longer. But we can't match granite when it breaks, you know, on a countertop, and these guys are like creating this beautiful church like that's been being built for hundreds of years. Like, that's just insane to me. But like, I don't know, I really enjoyed Barcelona. Granted, Barcelona was the first place we went to. I mean, Madrid was cool too, though. Like, I mean, like, again, I mean, I wouldn't hate on either one. It was really dope, both of them.
I'd love to go. I want to go one day. Or I'll, if they ever come here, maybe I'll try and get tattooed.
Yeah.
I just don't think about it. People ask me that all the time. When's the last time you got tattooed? And I just don't think. Maybe I get pickier over time, but I don't think about what I would want to get.
Yeah.
You know, that first basic steps of getting.
Did you do that early on though? Like, did you get like a whole lot of tattoos like in a short period of time and then just
I did
stop?
a lot on this arm. It's still not done, but this is the arm I've had some removal on too.
Look who's making the appearance.
First couple years, First couple years I was tattooing, I got a decent amount of tattoos, and then I just slowly stopped.
Y'all welcome the famous Con Dog to the show. He's finally making his appearance, even though he's the most camera shy person you've ever seen in your life.
His coloring is cool. His back's like black.
Dude, you should have seen when he was a puppy. He was all tiger striped.
Really?
Yeah, I
like
wanted to name him
brindle?
Tigger, and my wife vetoed it. But like when he was a puppy, he was all tiger striped, like his hindquarters here. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, mine was all Watson was his name. My boxer passed. He was all white.
Oh, you had an all white one. Those are super rare.
So you couldn't even tell how old he was, because that's why I asked how old he is. I have a friend. Hers is probably not alive anymore, but hers was 13. I haven't seen her in 3 or 4 years. It was a girl, and her whole face was really gray, like all white. I didn't even think about that till after I had Watson for a while. I was like, oh, we won't even know because our other dog's pretty much the same age. She's a German or a Belgian Malinois / German. She looks more like I don't know. We don't know for sure, but she's the same age and she's gray.
Yeah.
Him, you never know. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's been aging fast in this last year. You can see all the gray in his face and stuff, but yeah.
Just his muzzle, though. I mean, his whole body.
Yeah, I mean, you know how boxers are, though. I mean, like, they're ape shit from the time they're puppies to about 4.
Yeah.
And then they become tolerable.
Yeah.
And then it's like you get about 3 years of them being, like, still boxers, but, like, not, like, puppy crazy.
Yeah.
And then, like, after that, the drop-off is, like, really fast. Like, they just, like... They age super fast,
Watson,
and they're cancer machines. So like that's the sad thing.
Me too. Multiple vets have said those words. They're cancer making machines, and that's how pretty sure that's what it was in the end. But they're the best dogs, dude.
They're so awesome. They're great with kids. I mean,
yeah, he was kind of scared of kids, but I'm glad he was around long enough to meet our daughter, and she's a year and a half, so he was around her for over a year, and.
Yeah.
He was the one we were more worried about because when other kids have been around him, he'll just like freeze up. And he'll just look at me and just be like, what do I do? Or like real jittery. And the day we brought her home, he would stay in the room she was in, or if he left, he'd go check on her and make sure she was okay every so often. Go, like, just pop in real quick, but still.
The instinct's crazy.
He's so great. He didn't want her like laying on him or anything. Like, he's kind of finicky when he's comfortable, he doesn't want you messing with him, but
yeah. He's crazy, man. Like when my niece was like starting to learn to pull herself up and just hold on to like a coffee table or whatever, she'd come over and grab him by his jowls and just like pull herself, and he'd just sit there and look at her like, all right, this is what's happening.
Yeah, dude. Then Watson, up until he died, I guess like you said, after maybe 3 or 4 years, he was a little calmer, but really I feel like they keep that puppy mentality their whole, because when nothing really, the only thing that changed is he would relax more.
Yeah, sleep more. They'll lay around a little more. They're not as
more. But whenever he's
on the go
and ready to go, he's ready to go. He's wild. He's super goofy. And they have so much character in their face, dude. Like, he would make noises almost like not talking to you, but he just laid down. And you're like, no, not there. He wouldn't get up. He'd just side eye. He wouldn't even look at you. He'd side eye you. And then if you really needed him to get up, he'd get up real slow and be like blow a sigh out of his nose, and then slowly walk off. Then he'd stretch. Yeah. Like, you just lay down. You don't need to stretch. And then he'd slowly stretch and then walk off. Or when he was happy, I don't know, dude. There's just so many different faces they make. They're like little people.
They're awesome, man. I mean, I got him from Beston's Boxers up in Oklahoma City. He's one of the top breeders in the U.S. for boxers. Anybody that is looking for a boxer, I highly recommend. He has champion pedigree boxers. I mean, he has a wait list, so if you want one of his puppies, you better contact him and reach out. But I mean, I would want to know the lineage and the average age that most of the boxers have lived coming out of the line, just because, like we've talked about, I mean, they're great dogs. You fall in love with them. They're part of your family, and they just don't have long life expectancies. I mean, 8 to 10's the average. If you're lucky, you get like 10 to 12, but most of them, I mean, he's had cancer removed from him 4 or 5 times already, and he's 7.5.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just cancer-making machines. Like, at some point, you're going to have to deal with that, and it sucks.
Yeah, it does. The good thing about that, though, like our other dog, Stevie, she already has a little bit coming. The hip dysplasia, the Germans usually always get those, unless you spend a ton of money. But bad thing about that is we're gonna have to watch her go downhill. Yeah. For probably a couple of years. Yeah. And then maybe become incontinent and stuff like that. But
make the
at least
decision.
with the cancer, usually it's kind of quick. Yeah. So like it doesn't affect him. Like we had to cut some off of him a couple times too, in his gums, and then some little skin tag type things. Yeah. And but it doesn't really hurt him or affect him until it's the time when it's about to get real bad. Right. Then it usually happens. Like, it was real sad because 6 weeks went by and we had a great dog, healthy, and then he's gone. So that sucks. Yeah. But in another way, it was really the best thing. He didn't change much. He got to be his full healthy self until the last few weeks. And that's good. The cancer kind of just rapidly.
Yeah, my last boxer, Cash, he got pancreatic cancer. And he went from being a 105-pound boxer to 75 really fast.
He was 105
pounds. I mean, he's 90, 95.
God, ours was 60, I think.
I mean, so, like, you know, the internal cancers that they get that you can't see, I mean, that's the worst. I mean, I watched Cash go from 65. When he hit 45, I had to call my vet, and I was like, man, I can't. I can see every bone in his body. I can't watch my dog die like that. Like, I mean, like, he's not on. And what sucks is you agree to like have that last day with him, and then like they have a good day, and you're like, man, I guess I can't do this. I cannot watch that. Like, I know he's suffering, even though he's not acting like it all the time, but like I know he is. Like, he just have trouble going to the bathroom, everything else. Like that's painful to watch. Like, I feel fortunate for you. You got that quick.
Yeah, I got
deal.
Lucky.
Yeah,
it's sad, man. When you put them down, you just feel like you're betraying them. Mm-hmm. It's not good. It doesn't feel good.
No, it's the worst thing in the world.
They have no idea.
Yeah. Well, what other hobbies do you have, man? Like, what else do you like to get into?
I love playing ping pong.
Ping pong.
I love it.
Oh man, when my little brother comes in town, I'm gonna have to get you two on a ping pong table.
Yeah, he'll lose,
he kicks my ass in ping pong and darts. So if you can beat him at either of those things,
man, might win at ping pong. Then maybe I spoke too soon, because if you're good at darts, I feel like you're really good at most things, because I've played darts a lot and I've never gotten any better.
Yeah, he's like really good. Like I won't even play him because like it's not fun. Like he kicks my ass so bad. It's like he wouldn't play me in Madden back in the day because I would just absolutely destroy him. I'd hang 100 on him by halftime. And he's like, "You're not even fun to play with. Like I'm not playing you."
Yeah.
Yeah. You have brothers and sisters?
I have a brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Older or
doesn't throw
younger?
darts. Younger. He's 25. I want to say 26. Let's see, how old am I? 26. I think about to be 27. Colton is his name.
Right on.
Yep. Funny dude.
Yeah.
Good
How long
guy.
you had the dreads, man? Because I got to know, because I actually saw from when you like subscribed to the show.
Yeah.
I saw your dreads like process on there.
Yeah, that's why I started that channel.
That
yeah.
was so wild, man. Like I can't even picture you looking like that. Like
I know.
every picture I've ever seen, and as long as I've known of you or known you, you've had dreads at least close to that length.
Yeah. Had him 12 years.
12
I
years.
think maybe almost 13.
You think you'll ever ditch the dreads, or is this like a permanent? Like, is it like the beard for me now?
I don't think I will. I mean, I had them this long, and I still don't ever think about. I have nightmares about them just being gone all of a sudden. I've had that I've had that nightmare so many times that now when I have it, it becomes a lucid dream, because I feel in my head that I'm like, where are they? And then I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this isn't real. This has happened way too many times. And then I realize I'm dreaming, and then I do whatever I want.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But then once I start lucid dreaming, when you realize you can do whatever you want, and you're in a dream. I only get it feels like a few minutes. It's probably a few seconds, but all I'm telling myself is like, don't wake up, and it makes me wake up. You know what I mean? 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I can do whatever. Hurry up and do
Yeah.
anything.
I can fly.
Yeah. I get a lot of those. More like gliding I can do, but kind of just walk quickly, and then somehow that gives me enough speed to kind of get some thrust.
Yeah.
And then you come back down, and it's always terrifying. I'll catch like a gust of wind, and I'm way too high, and then you come down too quick.
That's awesome.
But
I have a buddy that has a beard that's like literally like ZZ Top. Like I mean, like it's way down here.
like
And he won't
competition
smoke.
level.
Yeah, he won't smoke cigars anymore because he was smoking a cigar, and the cherry fell out, and like literally hit right in the middle, and burn a hole like that in the middle of his beard. So like now he won't smoke cigars anymore because of that. Like because he had to like literally shave like a foot off of his beard.
Oh man.
To like catch it back up and like let it grow past. But the dude has like, I don't know how he gets a beard to grow so fast. Like it grows insanely fast on this dude.
Yeah, I've always been jealous of a good beard.
Yeah.
I'm 33 and I still have like a lot of patchiness. I can't grow. I've never probably
You gotta
grown it
shave a
longer
lot,
than like
man.
an inch.
That's why I like military guys, because they had to shave every day. You see guys come out of the military and all of a sudden they're like
Thick beard.
thick beards.
I'll have to try it.
That's
I only
wild.
ever really just trim. I kind of just keep it this long.
Yeah,
But I don't know. If I had a long beard with the hair, I think it might be too much.
it might be. It might be.
My head would look, and I already have a really big head. So I think I would look really top heavy.
Yeah, I think that'd be hard to picture on you.
Yeah.
That would be really hard to picture on you.
Yeah.
But the dreads, like, that's kind of like your, like, hashtag almost. Like, it's cool. Like, I enjoyed seeing the little process there, like, because it was, I mean, from the time you had, like, the little crisscross little braids to, like, all the way out,
Yeah,
man.
when they were real short, they were so short, they were like spikes.
Did you have, like, long hair at all, like, growing up as a kid, or,
You know,
like...
I always wanted long hair. So when I was in Duncanville, there was a super strict dress code, but no hair dress code. So I could have hair, but my mom wouldn't let me. And then right around whenever she would decided to let me grow my hair long is when I transferred to Midlothian,
Yeah.
which had a almost no dress code, but you had to have short hair for guys. So then I had to cut my hair. I never really got it that long. And then after high school, I started growing it out, and I was at that community college for a semester. And then when I went to that seminary, the Christ for the Nations, they had a hair dress code too. I have not had a haircut since I finished.
What made you decide to go to
school.
seminary school?
I wanted to do ministry.
Yeah?
I still wanted to be involved in ministry in some ways, you know. So, youth ministry, that was my major.
What is it that you enjoy about that?
just nice doing things for people, I guess, the core of it. Especially with youth ministry, because when I was a kid, skateboarding and this or that, kind of was part of what raised me. And a lot of things, like, fortunate that I didn't go different ways.
Yeah.
So, I think it's good to be there for there's a lot of things kids won't say to their parents.
Yeah.
They share with someone that's a little closer to their age or with similar interests and stuff. And then, like, when I had the skate shop, we had the thing where if you had good grades, you could get discounts, So if you brought in your report card, you get a certain amount off.
That's cool, man.
So I want to find a way to kind of still combine the two. So,
do you feel like that ever gets you judged differently or stuff? Because, I mean, obviously, like, with the piercings, the dreads, the tattoos, like,
I get judged more by tattooers for being a Christian than I do Christians for being a tattooer, which is weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
I would expect just the exact opposite of that.
Yeah. It could be the opposite, though. Maybe the Christians are just pretending that they're okay. They're pretending to be nice.
Yeah.
They just don't say anything.
Yeah.
But...
Because that's one of the things that always drives me nuts, when people want to put everybody in a box and, like, judge them instantly because of the way they like to dress or what they like to wear. You know, I dealt with that growing up all the time because I moved every 3 years, and constantly had to fit in with, like, new groups, different societies, different, cultures and stuff like that. And it's like, what works in one area doesn't work in the other area. So it kind of, like, evolves you into this, like, almost social chameleon.
Yeah.
Where you just learn to adapt to all of it. But, like, I've always thought it's really cool with people that can, like, just truly be themselves and, like, really not give a shit about any of that. And, like, not a single person, like, instantly thinks, like, oh, this is a Christian guy that wants to, like, be a youth pastor or youth minister. Like, you're just a tattoo guy. Yeah. Like, that they can picture.
Yeah.
You say the other, and they're like, wait a minute, what? Hold up. Let's record scratch, go back. Like, so I was wondering how much you've dealt with that, because, like, that's not something you would have expected right out the gate.
Yeah, no. You can always tell, though, when people don't agree with tattoos.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who talk to me the most like they love them. People will be like, oh, would be really cool as if there was you should totally make a book of everyone's stories that you tattoo, or you should, I get that one a lot.
But, a book about tattoos?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I had someone recently, what were they saying? They will just talk to me about the tattoo, because they're kind of uncomfortable with it. Yeah. It's hard to explain, but you can tell, you know what I mean? Yeah. Anybody would be able to tell. But they're uncomfortable, and it's on their mind, so they're naturally just going to keep talking about it, asking simple questions, which is fine. I'm happy to answer them, but it's just funny. You can tell, like, if you don't have to talk to me about tattoos if you don't like tattoos, or if you disagree with them on some kind of Christian theology level, or just directly ask me. Why don't you just ask me how I feel justified doing what I do, and I'll tell you. Yeah. But that's not really an issue. I haven't really gotten much.
Has anybody really debated that with you?
No, not really. Maybe in the beginning when I was getting into it, people, maybe friends or mutual friends, that was kind of the perfect time to say something about it, because I wasn't in it yet. Once you're in it, people probably feel less comfortable sharing an opinion because they know you're not going to stop doing it. I'm not going to stop tattooing because of your opinion. So, but in the beginning, maybe I had some friends. I just can't recall any specific situations.
I mean, we had one not too long ago where, I don't want to put this out there because we didn't really talk about it on the show either, but guy was really involved with the church. Great guy. Done a lot for society, for our country, everything. And, like, he started bringing in a bunch of people that didn't fit the profile of the church when he was helping grow the church, and they eventually came to him and were kind of like, they basically had kicked him out of the church. They're like, yeah, we don't really want your kind around here, like, and just kind of went off and started his own thing, like, it's so crazy how that, I think that's what's always bothered me a lot, especially in the South. Like, I guess I saw it some up north too, but, like, in the South, like, it's very, either you fit into this box or you don't, and, like, they don't leave a lot of area for the gray area.
I feel like,
but that's society today in general. I think.
like I was saying, like I forget what we were talking about, but like I was saying earlier, there's always those people. Mm-hmm. In skateboarding, it's the people who want to call everyone a poser because they don't wear this shoe or they skate this way.
Yeah.
And in the church, it's people who hold to certain theologies, or like the Baptists are wrong, the Pentecostals are wrong, the Catholics are wrong. It's like you're all Christians. I feel like people, it just shows your own insecurity. You're really just showing that you need a way to be better than them.
Yeah.
Who are you to say, unless someone asks, who are you to shove what you think on them anyway?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
feel the same way. Like, I think that's been one of my...
Like some people, you could put them in any situation, doing anything, and they'd find someone to complain about. Something
wrong.
They're doing that's wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you just do it then? Why don't you just keep doing it? It's usually people who I've found, like, with tattooing, or I guess anything I've done, it seems like people who talk down on you or think poorly of you, unless you're a jerk, but it's people who can't do what you do.
Yeah.
Or people who are jealous of the way you do it.
Are there things you won't tattoo on people?
Yeah. So I won't do any. Yeah, there's a grip of stuff. I don't do really private areas.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put, like, I don't do anything satanic.
Yeah.
Or highly offensive. I'm not gonna put, like, F you or anything on somebody. But yeah, I rarely have that.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with that a whole lot.
That. Yeah. I don't think, I maybe turned down like 10 people in 10 years.
Wow.
And then they're like, okay, I have a different idea then. It's never been.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a jerk about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to, even if people want something, that it's simply because maybe it's against just my spiritual beliefs.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's not something horrible, but people are cool, dude. The media just makes everyone seem more divisive.
Right.
And, well, they make people more divisive, but it seems like in real life, people are a lot more
I agree 100%.
reasonable.
That's what's always bothered me. Like, you can have your opinion, but like to like try to inflict that on others, like that always, like, you know, it's the same thing with religions. It's like, no matter what you believe, to me, it's always been kind of one of the rubs too, is like, would it not make sense if even if you just believe in God, wouldn't you think God would put somebody down that would relate to all the different kind of people? Maybe not just Jesus, maybe Muhammad, or, you know, whatever. I mean, I'm not super versed on other religions, but, you know, any of the other prophets or whatever you want to call them, and it's like, well, that would kind of make sense to me. Like, every culture would have somebody to relate to.
Yeah.
Or a Jesus that they related to. So. Well,
it's funny to me is like, we know Jesus' message, love.
Yeah.
Who are the only people that he ever had any conflict with? It was the religious leaders.
Yeah.
The Pharisees, the people that were praying out loud and walking around, showing their faith, showing how good they were, condemning other people. And it's funny how that's kind of come full circle, because I feel like the Christian church in America is now, should at least kind of be in a state of repair, because we've done so much damage because of being Pharisees.
Yeah.
And scarring so many people. Almost anyone I know that used to go to church and doesn't anymore, it's because they were taken advantage of or mistreated by people in the church.
Yeah.
It's rarely ever because they were like, I don't know, they're like, oh, I used to
don't agree with this
God
anymore.
used to answer my prayers, and he doesn't now. It's almost always people.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
That's true. That's true. I mean, that was probably my longest void is due to people. And it being a situation where it was like, I remember they was like sitting around in a youth group, and they were like, let's go home and write a letter to God and tell him about everything you've ever done wrong, or like all the bad stuff you've ever done, and like get that off your heart. Okay, cool. Then it was like, came back next week like, well, let's all read those letters to each other and like talk about that. that was between me and God.
Yeah.
Not sit here and like have a conversation with all of you and go over this. Well, how are you ever gonna? And I was just like, you know what? I'm out. I'm not participating in this. Like, this is weird. Like, this is awkward for not just your closest confidant friend or something like that to have a conversation like that with. We're going to sit in a group setting and do that? I was like, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing is it seems like it's one or the other. Like, I was just talking about people being kind of jerks and being like Pharisees and pointing fingers at people. But then also, this is maybe just personal to me, and it seems like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
If I just showed up to your church, don't talk to me like you're my only brother. Like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
Like, be nice, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't need 78 people telling me, hello, how are you this morning?
Yeah.
In a 10-foot stretch to the front doors.
Yeah.
Like, when you go to Walgreens and you're shopping, do you talk to everybody like that? To me, it just seems fake.
Yeah, they're pushing it.
And I don't want to seem too critical. Like, you want to do your best for God if you're serving, or just for anybody. You want to do your best if you're doing something. So you really want to be perky and be friendly. But to me, it's like, if God's apparent in your church, if things are happening and lives are being changed, and if it's real, do you need that stuff? Mm-hmm. And if not, what does it say when you have a lot of it? When you have really cool lights, cool fog, hot coffee, warm donuts, 30 greeters, 60 events a month. I mean, events might not be a bad thing if you're giving back to your community, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
I get you want to attract people, and I've never started my own church. I've been a part of little things like that, but I don't know. It seems like it's like I was saying, it's either like people be too judgmental, or I guess I can just see why so many people think they attach just being fake to Christianity.
Yeah.
You know, it may probably a lot of
it is because people sound like hypocrites when they do that.
Yeah.
And then you become more judgmental of it.
Just be yourself.
Yeah. It's like, you just said I'm doing this, but like, that's not what you're living. That's not what you're showing.
Yeah. Oh, and what I was getting at is they got way in that situation, or what you just mentioned. Mm-hmm. They got way too personal too quick. That's kind of what I was leading to is, if you're going to have like a service like that where it's like some deep rooted issues, maybe that should be like a 3-day special service kind of thing.
Well, it kind of was like, maybe I didn't set that up great. Okay. This was like a bunch of guys that met. It was like a youth ministry of guys, like, and it was like, you know, like 2 or 3 guys from the church, and then kind of our youth group of guys, and we would meet and have Bible study and, you know, do all this stuff. But it was also like, it was a combination of that, and right before that, like, I had prom, and they didn't like that I was going with somebody that wasn't a part of the church.
That's ridiculous.
And it was like, there was like underhanded comments and stuff like that about, you know, like, you know, that's really not, if you're going to keep growing and this, and I'm like, this is complete crap. Like, how do you sell this to anybody? Like, this isn't anything.
Because she didn't go to your church?
Well, yeah, mainly. Like, yeah, like this was this big conglomerate here in DFW at one point, and it was just like, this is weird, man. Like, I mean, I still talk to a couple people from back then, but like, yeah, man, it got weird fast. And that was like the share your letter to God with the whole group thing, like kind of after the initial just really good day or two of like communing with your fellow friends and stuff and having good Bible study, and then all of a sudden it was like, let's write a letter to God and like, you know, get all this off your chest, and like, you think about this and how you can change these things and how you're going to keep repeating those things or having those things happen again, whatever it was, you know. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, let's all sit around and talk about it. Let's read our letters to God to each other and like help each other grow from this. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. Like, I'm not reading this to anybody. I would have wrote
different stuff if I knew that.
Yeah. No one would have been honest and like done that if they thought they were going to have to sit here in a group of 12, 14 people, even if they were close friends, and like share all that.
Yeah, don't
if you really
people.
did it.
Why are they don't trick people?
Yeah.
It just makes you look like what you're trying to give isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
You got to trick me into it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, that's weird. All right, man. Well, we're getting towards the end here. Let's, what does this say? Thanks, Adrian, man. I appreciate that. No, we're not moving. My wife is not happy about pods being moved here. Like, I can't wait for the studio to be finished so that, like, I don't have to do this. I mean, trust me, I love doing this with certain guests and being here at my house. It's super comfortable. It's easy. But, yeah, the wife is not a fan of me doing this on the regular here. It's a lot of work. But
where is the other studio?
It's at Industrial Cigar Lounge, the lounge that I talk about that I go to. I usually shoot. They've got like a conference room set up there that I book that, and I typically shoot there.
Well, this is a nice setup too, bro.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Like, yeah,
even on camera, it's symmetrical. Obviously you set it all up like that, but even everything, it's very relaxing, and it's also nice. Yeah, the only problem with this too is we got the waterfall here, and guests usually within like the hour and a half mark, like. Someone's need to take a bathroom break. Yeah. I mean, because you're sitting here listening to this waterfall for 2 hours. You're like dying to get out of the chair. I think it's nice because it's the same way like how music helps with awkward silences. Yeah. Around, like, I don't know. I love it, man. I mean, you got the fire. Yeah. I mean, it's good. Like, I was nervous about the wind earlier today because if it is not blowing, it's out of the south today. So it gets blocked over there. But if it's out of this north, it would kill us. Like, we would not be able to do this. Like, it would be beating us to death right now. Yeah. I could have every one of these heaters on, and we would be freezing. I didn't even notice that. It is nice how it's kind of blocked in right there. Yeah. I need to do a shade or somewhere there. But, yeah, Adrian, I agree. I appreciate that. I like the setup. It's fun to do every now and then, but this will not be the norm. Hopefully, down the road, we can get our own little studio and, like, do it how we want to do it. It's just always the enjoying the cigar part that usually is the dampering. If you had a perfect studio, what would you have? Are you trying to wrap this up? No, we're good, man. If I had a perfect studio, man, I don't know. I have some friends that have those. Have you seen the like built out garages where you kind of like have it's like you enter a code, like it acts as like a gated, like almost like a storage facility. Yeah, yeah. But everybody has their own private garage, and like people store their cars in there and stuff like that, their bikes, their toys. Yeah. They can build it. They can finish them out however they want. Maybe it's a game room. Maybe it's a man cave. Have a barn at an office, whatever. I've seen some people living in them. I mean, people do that. Like, they have the ones that are on airport hangars for guys that have planes, and they build out those spaces, and they have the little mini apartment in there and stuff like that. Nice. I think that would be super cool if we could have like a little HQ like that where, it was just a cool place to go, and you could like smoke cigars inside and have the right ventilation and everything like that. Like, the cigar thing is really what kind of dampens that on a lot of spaces. Because you can't just, even like I've had some friends that own bars and stuff like that and restaurants that are like, hey, come do a live here. We would do that, but I mean, some places you'd be able to get away with it, some you wouldn't. Industrial's just always been like my home away from home, and I love being up there. It's kind of like one of my like little getaways. So the fact with their expansion and how they've got that all set up, I'll have to get you to come up there sometime. You can be guests with me up there. Cool. Hang out when they get the remodel all done, but it's just I don't know. I would like to have something where we had some monitors that were like where you don't see like my lab. I mean, granted you can barely see it in this setup, but like where you could have the monitors where you have stuff, and like Biz could have his setup a little bit more always there and just ready to go. Yeah. And we didn't have to set up, take down all the time, and you just had it there. You came in, boom, let's go. And for like the lives and stuff like that, like if we were, you were referencing whatever, he could like pop it up. You see how Joe Rogan does his and stuff, where you can interject those things, they can switch to it. Yeah, you have the like multi-camera. Pull this up real quick. Yeah. And then you have the multi-camera where it can kind of be bouncing back a little more than just the overall shot. Yeah. Right now it's one stationary camera, stuff like that, but that's all stuff to work towards down the road. Yeah. But I think that would be cool. But I kind of like this too, where we have like kind of the bouncing around a little bit. That is cool to like mix it up a little bit. It was getting a little mundane just doing it in that one format at the lounge, in the room,
We bounced around into the construction space a little bit when that was being used, and kind of went over there and did a new backdrop and stuff like that. That stuff's fun to me, to kind of play around with that stuff. Maybe we'll shoot one when we do my ink or something like that, and do something crazy for a little bit of that. Or at least some little mini clips or something of that.
That'd be fun.
Watching me get tortured.
And you're asking questions like, how old were you when you started tattooing?
Yeah. More numbing cream.
So if you could, you said you don't, your wife doesn't like it being here. I'm sure you're partially joking.
Yeah, I would say,
if you could.
Man, she's going to kill me for throwing her under the bus like this, but it's not that. Like, my wife grew up in a family where entertaining and hosting is taken to another level. Like, if my wife wasn't under the weather right now, like, I mean, like, she can't do any, she's like me in a lot of regards to certain things. Like, she can't do anything half-ass. Like, she takes a lot of pride in our house. She's spent a lot of time designing, helping get stuff done here, picking things out that, like, and she's super proud of it. So, like, she would want, if that's your first time coming here, she wants it to be the best, you know, like, she'd be in there doing charcuterie boards, and we would have this and that, and, like, we'd be probably barbecuing, like, you know, we'd have to do, like, this whole thing. Like, there is no just, like, coming over, having to be low-key, like, hey, don't worry about it. Like, if she wasn't sick right now, like, that would all be happening. Like, I could say don't do it, and she's still going to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like, legit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Do you do a lot of other podcasts?
Just actually, this is the main one right now. This is it.
Gotcha.
I mean, I used to do a bunch, but we kind of condensed down to this.
I was gonna say it'd be nice to have, because we've considered eventually maybe starting one at the shop in one of the rooms.
Yeah.
I mean,
All this stuff travels.
it'd be nice to just have someone who already has the stuff and knows how to do it. You know what I mean? Versus having to learn everything. And
that's my best advice. Like, if you want to start out a podcast, and this is one of the things I think that helped me a lot, because I'm like that. If I jump into something, I'm either all in or I'm all out. I can't, like, be in between. Like, I either have to do it or I'm not doing it, or I'll lose my interest, or I'll try it really hard and go all in for a while and realize that's not my thing, and then I'm changing directions, doing something different. If you're going to do something like a podcast and you're just starting out, I would recommend that you go and find somebody like Biz. No, you cannot steal Biz from me. You know, like, yes, you can book another day or something, but, you know, he is available for people that would like to enjoy Biz's services. But I would recommend finding somebody like that, because otherwise you're going to go out, you got to buy this badass camera, tripods, cables, microphones, mic stands, lighting, producing, soundboard. I mean, like, there's a lot that goes into this. I mean, like, you don't think about all these little things, but, like, if you're front loading that and, like, taking on all that expense, that's a lot. Versus you find somebody that can produce a show like Biz, where you pay him for his services and they come set that up. Do it for however long and see if you can even like it, you're successful at it, and then, I mean, obviously you could grow from there. But I would highly recommend that. Like, if it's something you want to test the waters with, see if you even really enjoy it. Because, like, you know, that was painful at first, going back and watching, like, my early episodes and trying to, like, you know, hear myself talk. Like, dude, go listen to yourself talk.
I never watch my old videos.
It's horrible.
I hate them.
It's horrible.
I edit them, watch them one time to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
I'll never watch them again.
Yeah, like, you get used to it after a while, but, you know, you can see the progression too, and, like, you get better at asking questions. You get better at, like, however you want to do your podcast, whether it's short form, long form, whatever. But I would, you know, and there's a million coaches that are going to hit you up when you start doing it on all the social media.
Yeah.
From here to India to China to Russia, wherever, people are going to hit you up telling you they can edit your stuff, they can get you 10,000 subscribers overnight, you know, all this bullshit. But, you know, you can do that stuff, but I would recommend you find somebody that has the equipment set up that can produce your show, and just give it you know, whatever your budget allows. Like, are you going to give yourself 6 months? You're going to give you a year? Because everybody that I know that does successful podcasts, either ones that have been on the show or not been on the show, that I've sat and talked with, it's about the 2 to 3 year mark before you're going to really get traction. Like, people have to see you doing it consistently. They have to see it grow, and a lot of them want to be a part of it growing, and then getting it figured out, all the little tweaks you have to do to get the algorithms, find the platforms that work best for you, learn how to do short form content if you are long form formatted, all this stuff. Like, it just takes time, unless you're fortunate enough that it can be your full-time job, or you're going to go out on a shoestring budget.
Well, I just don't like doing it.
Do it real.
So I'd rather have someone else do it anyway, you know?
I mean, some people are like that. Some people want to get their iPhone out and a tripod, and they get little lapel mics, and they plug them in, and they do a podcast.
I kind of kept it that simple when I did it, but there wasn't as much stuff really made for vlogging now, or like podcasting too. Is there? You can go to Walmart now and get a vlogging kit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just, whenever I've done videos or anything, even with my social media, I kind of go in waves throughout the seasons. I'm like really into it sometimes in advertising, then I fall behind. But with the videos, man, I hated I enjoyed them, but I don't like editing. I mean, maybe it was fun, but that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I'll get all into it. And then by the time things start to get a little better, I'm like over it now, because I wasted my time. Wasn't spending my time doing what I really enjoy. And I got into this and burned myself out doing this new skill, when that wasn't even why I was getting into it. I was getting into it to do the podcast, not to be an editor. You know?
Yeah. And not to say you couldn't do a full show on tattooing, and like, I think it would be more beneficial for you if you, I mean, maybe yours is because your new studio is going to offer spaces to other creative artists. Maybe you do a once a month podcast where you're introducing the new creative that is in your space, or showcasing what they're doing and talking about them, getting them to show their journey, and you're adding that to build your follow, and you hire somebody like Biz to do that, and then it's all set up. You don't waste a whole bunch of time doing it. He edits it, he gets it all to you, and then you're able to put that out on your social media. To me, that's more beneficial to you. And then you doing the things you really enjoy, maybe you just need to be a little bit better about, maybe it's scheduling shoots that with Biz, to where, you know, or somebody like Biz, where you take before and during pictures, but then when you know you've got, you know, 4 or 5 people that are all healed up, have him come in, shoot them, really cool lighting and everything, and like really make sure the lighting's right and stuff, so you really get to see all the contrasts and everything in your artwork that you just did, and then you making little reels that you put out on your channels, and you drop those weekly or bi-weekly. I think for your business, that model is way more successful and productive for you. You deciding, I'm going to put a little studio in here, and you spend all this money, and then you're trying to force conversations or always having new stuff to talk about tattooing, like, you're going to run out of stuff really fast. Like, that's the hardest thing for me, is finding the guests and putting the guests together and doing that. I've just been fortunate that I have a pretty large network, sort of being in sales, and the amount of people I know and that I socialize with and network with, that I have a pretty good pool of people to constantly be pulling somebody in. But there's times that even gets hard, even with the amount of those connections that I have. Like, that's hard. I mean, we're at episode 50. Like, your list you start knocking. Like, I mean, I even have a list of like 10 people that people would say I would never get on my show that I want to do a show with. You know, Joe Rogan, Jocko, you know, Aubrey Marcus, you know, you name it, Ray Cash Care, you know, throw these people out, and like, some of these people want money to come and speak or to sit with you for that long. Some of the, you know, we got some really exciting ones. Like, I got a super exciting one I just lined up today for right after the first of the year when we kick back off, that I'm super excited about. Local radio host that I listen to every morning driving to work. And he's like, yeah, man, I'll come do your show. Let's do it. Let's find a time. Let's make it work. You know, you asked me that a year ago, I'd have told you there's no way this dude's going to come give me 2 hours of his time and sit on my podcast. It wouldn't happen. But like, now that it's progressing and growing, you know, other people are reaching out to me too, like, hey, I'd really like to, man, you and my friend so-and-so would really be dope to sit down with on the show. Like, can you get him on the show? Or people are referring people or having people reach out to me too, which that's cool too.
Yeah.
All right, man, I know we're like hitting the 2-hour mark now.
Are we really?
Yeah, man, we've been talking for 2 hours. Can you believe that?
Dang.
People are always like, man, I don't think I talk more than an hour. And I'm like, and we look down and it's like, oh, yep, we've been on for 2 hours.
Wow.
So there's 2 questions we ask everybody at the end of the show. We'll have you on again. Like I said, we'll come back and do this again at some point. But if you could leave your daughter one piece of advice, what would that be?
Has to be one.
Could be 1, it could be 2. I mean, whatever.
Say either be kind to people. Kindness. Even when people don't understand. Or work smarter, not harder.
Right on.
So, a mixture of those two. If it had
Alright.
to be one, it'd be kind. Be kind.
Be kind to others.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. That's excellent advice. Now, the fun one. I always like this. This is my favorite one just because you never know what you're going to get. Shows common sense. What's something you don't think people have common sense about? Or it could be something that maybe you wanted to say that I didn't ask you tonight. It could be something you feel you didn't get to say enough about. It could be something you just want to say or put out there. It's just your 2 cents. You can give all these listeners Colin's 2 cents.
I'm trying to think of something that's common sense. Maybe something that's common sense people don't have.
People don't have. Maybe
Here's
you
some
think they
common
need more
sense.
of.
Ignore the media. I just feel like that's the cause of. There's so many things you could say, but
Yeah.
for right now, just ignore the media.
Yeah.
You can't really trust anybody. And how much does it really affect your life?
Yeah.
Unless it's the president and you have a massive corporation, it's all the finances I get and stuff, or your home, but don't mistreat people because they think differently from you. Talk to people.
Yeah.
I say that, but I feel like people in real life also feel that way. When I've talked to people,
Yeah.
almost everybody is like, yeah, dude, you see all this stuff online, but in real life, I can easily talk to someone with different views from me.
Yeah.
It's like, let's not, I guess maybe that's the point. Let's not forget that we all have so much more in common than we have.
We're all human beings at the end of the day.
We're a lot more alike than we're different, yeah. And no one wants to be talked down to or have a bad day. Be nice to people.
Yeah. Right on, man. Well, dude, I want to thank you for coming and doing this show with me, man. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I've enjoyed sitting here just kicking it with you.
Definitely, dude.
And we'll do this again, man.
I appreciate the cigar and the Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We'll do it again. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this show. We'll be back again next week. We're going to have another mutual friend of ours on next week. Mr. Brad McNeil is going to come on here.
Oh, don't do it.
Oh, I'm doing.
No, I'm
Chase has been
That'll be
begging
great.
me for this.
Yeah,
Chase is
that'll
like,
be
you
a fun
gotta
one.
get Brad on there, and I've been trying for months, but we finally got him lined up. He's gonna come in, and y'all are in for a treat. Like, Brad is a very cool individual that is well versed in more things than I could possibly imagine. I can't wait to see where to go. It's gonna be a completely off the cuff show, not like probably anything we've ever done, but it's going to be entertaining. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I bet. Brad's hilarious.
He's one of a kind, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you guys a little teaser. This dude has been banned and pushed off of Facebook and stuff like that so many times, it's not even funny. I can't even keep up with how many accounts he has because they'll close one down, he starts up another one. The last time this happened that I remember, and I talked to him about it, They literally told him, if you take this page down, we will unblock you. And that's because before Obama was president, he started a page that was literally called, I was anti-Obama before anti-Obama was cool.
He started that?
He started that page. And like they
what a crazy guy.
They hate it. They absolutely hated it. Like it went bonkers.
Really?
So yeah. We'll get him to talk about all that and some other interesting stuff. Brad's never short for an opinion or a good joke or something to off the cuff. So it'll be an interesting episode. So
you should get Chase on here too to talk about running a business and.
Man, I'd love to have Chase and Misty, man. They're both welcome anytime.
Sure. Yeah, the pair, dude.
Yeah, the pair of them, the dynamic duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that anytime. Chase knows my number. If Chase is ever willing to do that and come on here, we will do that in a heartbeat. I will gladly sit down with two of them because I love it. We've been trying to get dinner put together for months. I told him I'm going to have to book a fake estimate.
Yeah.
Just to get him to come out, so we can get him out because the guy stays working all the time. But we hope you guys enjoyed the show. We hope you'll tune in again next week. Y'all be safe out there. Peace.